Balka Balka Nagamli Yagara Jarana. Hello friends, that's a friendly greeting. Good day to you all. Greetings from our Yuggera country. Greetings all on our Yuggera country. Thank you and be blessed.
We invite everyone who is able to now be upstanding for the national anthem of Canada to be performed by Brianna Burt.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
For those who are able, please remain upstanding for the national anthem of Australia to be performed by Jade Stoddarts.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strength, then let us sing. Advance Australia fair.
Two fantastic renditions of the national anthems. You can see both teams really enjoying it, singing along a cappella as well as handshakes take place between Australia and Canada. And so these two sides, close in the world rankings, Canada 7th, Australia 12th. Australia does have a slight head-to-head edge. Canada have scored more goals in contests between the two teams, but as we heard in pre-game, they haven't met since 2016 at the Olympics. Canada winning that game down to 10 players as well after a first half red card. There's Sam Kerr getting ready to hand over the pennant, but Canada are in for their team photo first. And understandably, a little bit of working it out because it is quite a different team to the one that took on the United States in the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying tournament final, a match which the United States only won 1-0 from the penalty spot. And so Sam Kerr will go in and say hello to the referees. There's Bev Priestman with one last little pep talk for Christine Sinclair, the Canada coach. So the Matildas team, just the 4 changes from the side that last played against Portugal, but those ins are big. Mary Fowler, Sam Kerr, Kyra Cooney-Cross and Alana Kennedy into the starting 11. To the bench go Wheeler, Crummer and Yallop, and 6 players that were part of that squad in Spain and Portugal not selected for this particular camp. Watch out for the number 27, Alex Chidiac, off the bench. And of course the super veteran Ivy Lewick is there waiting in reserve as well. But Plenty of questions over the Matildas' defence. Courtney Nevin left back and Charlotte Grant right back, the two youngsters with just a combined age of 40 in there today. Let's take a look at the Canadian team. Changes are plenty from the one that lost to the United States in July. In comes Zadorsky, Grosso, Heidemer, Leon, St. George and Yecker. So almost the entire Canadian backline from that match against the United States has been overhauled. A pretty tough training session during the week also means some of the more regular first teamers will be amongst the substitutes instead, but everyone who travelled is available to play for Bev Priestman this afternoon. And so one last team huddle. Of course, the context is vital for Canada. They're 7th in the world rankings. Only the top 6 will be seeded for next year's World Cup. It is a friendly, so we've got an Australian referee, Anna-Marie Kiley, and then assistants Misuk Park and Gulji Lee, and the fourth official is Sejin Park. There will be no VAR, I should say, for this friendly, so the referee's decision will be final. 21-year-old Jordan Heidemer, one of the rising stars of world football. Hard to believe she's already gone beyond 50 caps. Getting in there for a G-up of her teammate Sinclair Polkinghorne, who really took to scoring goals on home soil. Will be marshalling the team at centre-back. What a great moment for these fans, especially the Brisbane-based ones. They'll be so thrilled to cheer on Queenslanders like Mary Fowler and Katrina Gorry, of course, the regista running the midfield. So the countdown is going on the scoreboard. It's the gold medalists against the green and gold as Australia and Canada kick off in Brisbane. And straight away, Katrina Gorry hitting a long ball, hoping for the surprise front three selection, Kyra Cooney-Cross, as I welcome a player who scored last time the Matildas beat Canada, Amy Chapman, former Matilda. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thanks, Teo. Great to be here, and I'll claim some of those goals. There wasn't many of them, but great to have the Olympic champions here, and of course the Matildas back on home soil with under 12 months to count down to the Women's World Cup.
Australia trying to press aggressively from kick-off. Leon was on the end of Bianca St. George's pass. But some of the missing players for Canada today, Kadisha Buchanan, their star defender, Riviera Gilles, Ashley Lawrence. There's some big names, so this is a great opportunity for the Matildas. As much as we've heard about their absentees, they can capitalise today, and Tony Gustafsson only talks about his own team. He doesn't talk about the opposition much, but Canada are very beatable today.
Yeah, well, there's potential there for the strike forces, the Matildas, to get in behind. New look back four.
Sam Kerr wrestled off the ball, no foul. Play continues, and it's an early touch for Kaylin Sheridan.
Canada have only conceded 1 goal out of their last 6, and that's partly to do with that strength of that back four, but a lot of new faces out there, as Bev Priestman alluded to, so a big opportunity for some goals.
They have 3 potential international debutants on the bench, but all 11 starters for Canada today have played for the national team to varying levels of experience, none more so obviously than Christine Sinclair, who today draws level with Carly Lloyd on 316 international caps, the second most in all international football, which is pretty incredible. As we see Gorry, who will be trusted to take the ball out of the defensive half, being followed by Sinclair here, finds Van Egmond. And Emily Van Egmond goes back to Alana Kennedy at the centre of defence. And now Charlotte Grant. Early pass from Van Egmond. Taken down. Janine Becky scored against Australia at the 2016 Olympics. And she's in possession here. Back to Shalina Zadorsky, no stranger to Australia. Spent a year here playing for the Perth Glory in the A-League Women's, back when it was known as the W League, and she was an opponent that you would have played against, Amy Chapman, when you were at the Brisbane Roar.
Yep, definitely a familiar foe, and as is Christine Sinclair, who, as you alluded to, is an iconic footballer, one of the best in the game, probably top 3 in the women's game in history. So there's some big players out there, and it was an iconic moment seeing Sam Kerr and Sinclair walking out together.
Of course, we get to look forward to plenty more of those at the World Cup. Here's Mary Fowler, someone hoping to join those ranks over the course of her career, as Kennedy drives a bit of a risky pass, but Courtney Nevin was the outlet, and now Nevin can take some territory and go forward. And the crowd rises on the back of Nevin. Emily Van Egmond now is going to drift a ball into the box. Kerr's up, Kerr's flicking, and it requires a good save. Sheridan equal to it, and Sam Kerr nearly steered that beyond the Canada keeper.
First great moment here from the Matildas. A lovely floating ball in from Van Egmond, and of course, none other than Sam Kerr just trying the flick on there, and Canada up to the task.
It was the taller Zadorsky that Sam Kerr convincingly out-leapt there in order to win that header. And so a corner is the result. And as is the case for her Swedish club side Hammarby, Courtney Nevin is on set-piece duty, stepping out the run-up for this corner here. In swing into a central position. Fowler's up this time, but it's not a goal-bound header.
It's a nice delivery there from Nevin, and a good moment from her. It was that switch from Alana Kennedy, a low and hard switch out there that allowed the fullback to get forward and create that play. And the two fullbacks today, they're the two positions we're looking at for the Matildas to really step up in the absence of Catley and, of course, Carpenter.
Ellie Carpenter will be out long-term, of course, rehabbing an ACL. Steph Catley will hopefully be back for the midweek game in Sydney. Here's a chance for Canada to show what they can do. Nichelle Prince. An early ball. Lydia Williams, her first touch. Jordan Heidemer was waiting in the middle, but Prince, I suspect she'll keep the ball at her feet a little bit more than early passes like that, because especially against the United States, in the most recent time Canada played, they were able to ask a lot of questions with her runs down the left flank.
Yeah, Nichelle Prince is a really dynamic striker for the Canadian national team, and Charlie Grant will have her work cut out for her today.
Fowler saw the run of Kerr. Kerr loads up the shot and puts it straight between the gloves of Kaylin Sheridan. But it's a couple of chances already for the superstar striker. Easy pickings, that one. But they keep giving Kerr these chances. Canada may well get punished. Zadorsky a little bit shaky on that left side as Fowler presses in. Canada using the opportunity to take a breather. Gielnik is able to win the ball away. Kerr surrounded by opponents. Becky clears. Gorry. Prince. Canada able to consolidate on the ball. Good work by Grosso. Shouts to Shalina Zadorsky again. Matilda's definitely pressing when she's on the ball, but this time with a bit of breathing room, she's able to lift a long ball. Heidemer. And now Sinclair. Australia just ease off and wait for Canada's next move. You can see Sheridan's been lured a long way out of the penalty box. And Zadorsky, this time on her right side. Leon, over the top came Nevin to win the header. Grosso has to be careful with Van Egmond lurking, but shrugged her and now advances. Heidemer wanted the ball fed early. A little spin. Grosso getting into good spaces, but surrounded by green and gold. And Fowler prevails with the ball. And now possession volunteered straight back to the Canadians. It's interesting, Amy, immediately that Suri Yeka, the number 27, is the other centre-back, but they are showing their hand. Zadorsky's the one they're trusting to play the ball out from the back. Now we get to see what Yeka can do, and they can mix it up a bit.
Yeah, they're slowly getting their foot on the ball here, Canada, and opening up that space where the momentum had really been with the Matildas in the opening 5 minutes. Obviously, the crowd probably helping that.
And here's Zadorsky once again. This time, Becky has found a little bit of space. Grosso. And Fleming. Sam Kerr's Chelsea teammate. Playing it through the right side, an ambitious pass. Bianca St. George unable to run it down, but Bev Priestman starting to appreciate what the Canadians are showing out there. St. George, who plays for the Chicago Red Stars, only made her international debut back in June 2021 against the Czech Republic. Today is just cap number 4, so one of those Canadian players who really could have something to prove with a good showing here. Prince, good use of the body to lose Grant, but played it straight to Gorry. Gorry looked up and saw Heidemer pressing back. Kennedy just clears the lines and sets Kyra Cooney across a task. And St George had the angles covered. Amy, thoughts on Kyra Cooney Cross being deployed in the front three? It's the position where she really made her name as a junior player, breaking through at sort of ages 14 to 17. Her first A-League women's season with Melbourne Victory as well. But she's been used in a far deeper midfield role in Matilda's colours.
Yeah, there's two interesting matchups out there today. You mentioned Kyra Cooney Cross seeing in a more wing position, which she hasn't done for the Matildas. Familiar at club level, but it's the first time we've seen her out there for the Matildas. And Mary Fowler tucking in a bit more centrally. And of course, this is the matchup I'm excited about today. Sinclair versus Gorry. 175 centimetres versus 155 centimetres. But what Gorry lacks in height, she certainly makes up for in that agility.
So the ball again finds its way to the feet of Canada's defenders and keeper. Grant wins the header. Gorry's in the right spot, but straight away on cue, Sinclair dispossesses. Now they work it a little bit too close to the line. Grant unable to keep it in. Grant from Adelaide, cap number 8 today, was actually loaned from Rosengard at the top of the Swedish league to Vizio, so she's now a teammate of Claire Polkinghorne and Katrina Gorry. And after 10 minutes, Australia's early flurry, which led to the best chance of the game and a good save off the head of Sam Kerr. Now we've got Canada slowly trying to grind their way back in, and a handball here will give them a set piece, and we get to see the likes of Sinclair in the air. Zadorsky as well could push forward. They don't have the regular cast of players that might be a red alert threat from set pieces, but Sinclair in the box is always going to be a dangerous proposition.
Certainly Sinclair will be the target, and the likes of Polkinghorne and Alana Kennedy will have to step up and control the box here, and a good test for Lydia early on.
Grosso and Fleming are the two players over the set piece. That's how it looks at the top of the area. It's Fleming. Doesn't beat Gorry, who's up for the header. St George. Now Heidemer. Cuts it in. Adriana Leon. What a hit! What a great goal! Canada take the lead. And it's Adriana Leon with a rocket into the top corner. And the new signing for Manchester United shows her class. It's Canada 1, Australia 0.
And it is a world-class finish at the top of the box here. Well defended initially, but the follow-up here from the Matildas a little bit slow. Leon finds a ton of space at the top of the 18-yard box and makes no mistake.
Here's a perfect angle, Amy. Talk us through it.
Oh, she's just picked out top corner here. Nothing Lydia Williams could do, really. To have that much space at the top of the box is an absolute gift, but she's connected beautifully.
Well, only scored the 2 goals for West Ham in the WSL last season, Leon, but newly arrived at Manchester United, and I think their fans, given that they're coming off the back of the Euros, they've got the likes of Alessia Russo and Ella Toon, and Adriana Leon says, hey, don't forget about me. And that is going to be pretty exciting to watch. Not just in Canada colours, but in the red of Man U as well. What a goal to get this game going.
Yeah, certainly be a big confidence booster for her. She's in fine form, both club and country, and that is a quality finish.
25th international goal in cap number 87 today for the 29-year-old. I guess that still makes her a youngster compared to some of the Canadian players. Sophie Schmidt and Christine Sinclair, more than 200 and 300 caps respectively. Leon's probably there on 87 thinking, I'm halfway through my career, there's plenty of time to go. It's amazing the endurance some of these players have had. And it's silenced the crowd, Amy, so I look over to the left of screen to the active bay and I say, find your voice, start chanting, start making some noise for the Matildas.
Yeah, they'll need to reset now. Obviously, they don't like to concede early goals, and it was off the back of a set piece that really wasn't defended well on that second phase, so they'll need to bounce back.
And now Canada owning the ball with a lot more confidence. Players running on adrenaline. Heidemer. Becky. Janine Becky's underhit that pass, presenting the ball to Cooney Cross. And well defended by Suri Yeka to keep it away from Sam Kerr, who was away without that header. Canada are in the lead. They won't mind the press being a little bit less intense, but a gift was almost presented to Sam Kerr. You heard the crowd all shocked at the possibility of Kerr being in, but well done by the goalkeeper Sheridan to get it away. Michelle Prince. Zadorsky. Centre-back starting to grow in confidence, getting up the pitch. Pass though from Becky, misses its target. Kennedy. Through comes Yeka again. Suri Yeka set herself for the task of marking Sam Kerr today. Plays in France for Le Havre, previously at Duisburg in Germany, so very well travelled after leaving Canada in the European leagues. To see what the Matildas can do in possession. Fowler presents on the right. Leon gets in the way. Gorry. Nevin. Nevin steers it central for Van Egmond.
Good, draw her out. Exactly, Charlie. Draw her out. Move position, Charlie.
Nevin again. Van Egmond. They complete the 1-2, and Cooney Cross has a little pocket of space on the left. Is able to keep the ball in. Cooney Cross cuts it back. Van Egmond. Now Fowler. Can be really dangerous in this territory. Mary Fowler. And at the edge of the 6-yard box, Zadorsky gets it away. Now it's the Matildas' turn to try and trap the Canadians in their defensive third. Grant. Gilnick trying to impose herself on the game. Concedes back to Van Egmond. Now Gorry. Can't thread the eye of the needle to find Kerr, but Grant will follow up. Van Egmond knew exactly where Fowler was. Can Fowler get there? She does. Great close control. Mary Fowler on the tight angle. And it clears all and sundry in the penalty box. Kerr keeps the Matildas on the attack. Kerr, the touch. It didn't arrive in time for Van Egmond to turn and shoot. Instead, out to the left for Nevin. And that will be a corner for the Matildas.
Nice patient build up there. Loving the movement. Loving the movement from Mary Fowler as we take one more look at this goal. The opener for Canada here. It's a quality finish. Too much time at the top of the box, but it does take a star to finish from there.
That's what it meant on the bench. That's what it meant out on the field. Adriana Leon with the only goal of the game. Australia have the only 2 corners. This is the first time they've taken one from the left side. Trina Gorry on duty. In swinger, Polkinghorne. It's always a high degree of difficulty to score on that sort of an angle.
Yeah, it was a low, hard delivery there from Gorry, but a couple of good opportunities in some deep areas there. Like I said before, I think Mary Fowler's movement's been excellent. Perhaps a little static early on and just forcing that pass into Sam Kerr, but they're getting a little more creative now.
So how aggressively will the Matildas press here? They've shown their hand by putting Kerr and Fowler at the top of the box. Now Gilnick comes in, and Canada rather smoothly work it to defensive midfield, and Jessie Fleming. Leon. Pursued by Nevin, but has help. Yeka. Goes for the long ball, Suri Yeka. Polkinghorne nodding down. Gorry on the spot. Grant to Gilnick. Gilnick goes for the long ball over the top. course, it's a homecoming for Emily Gielnik. Loves playing in Brisbane. Was speaking during the week about it feeling like the junior days training at Cusack, which was a ground where she would have played plenty of times for the Brisbane Roar or even the Queensland Roar before the name change back in the day. So she'll be hoping for a big showing here. It's been a bit of a subdued first 18.5 minutes from her.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll have a lot of family and supporters here, and she of course got engaged during the week for the Aston Villa forward, so a big week for her, but she'll be wanting to get in some good positions here moving forward for the Matildas.
They won't need Gielnik back on defensive duty there because Grant and the assistant referee are aligned that in fact it was Prince who got the last touch. So it's out for a goal kick. There are the Matildas active, drumming away, singing away. It's one thing that they are hoping to grow come the World Cup. The fan culture around the team, especially in stadiums on match day, creating an atmosphere, making noise. Zadorsky engages Fowler. And Becky is the escape route. And was forced into a hurried pass on her right side. Grant knocks it back to Polkinghorne. Polkinghorne ran into a 1-on-2 and was able to get it to Van Egmond. And now the ball is whipped out to St George's corner. And Bianca St George has done very well, not just to steer away from Sam Kerr, but the advancing Kyra Cooney-Cross as well.
Cooney-Cross showing some great pace out there early on the wing there, running in behind, and St George's were really lucky to get away with that blind turn.
That diagonal ball is a weapon that Matildas rely on so often. Often it is Hayley Razzo who might be bombing down a flank, or Caitlin Ford, but Kyra Cooney-Cross gets to do it this afternoon. What do you make of the pressing strategy of the Matildas so far? It seems as though Canada can reasonably comfortably possess the ball in this area of the field. We've had one major scare, which the goalkeeper cleaned up, but otherwise they're starting to look a bit more assured.
Yeah, I think Canada have got a nice play here where they're getting another holding midfielder dropping in, whether it's Fleming or Grosso. There's always one free deep midfielder, so that's how they're getting out at the moment, so that'll need to be looked at for the Matildas.
Let's move the ball was the shout you might have heard come through there from the effects microphone. Ball remains with the Australia defence and defensive midfield for now. Kennedy. Movement from the attackers, so Kennedy will prefer the shorter option in Van Egmond. Instruction from the sideline now coming for Emily Gielnik, but it's up the middle. Route one to Sam Kerr is the hope. Shalina Zadorsky is able to win the header, and there's the energy of Fleming to come through and mop up, winning a throw. She did so. Prince trapped in a 1-on-2. Matildas could raffle it there. Who wants possession? But Van Egmond wants to steer it back to Kennedy. Gorry. Fleming with an interruption to Prince. And will Prince back that speed and agility here? Is able to weave through a slaloming run. And then the outside of the boot pass. It's not out of danger yet. And there's a free kick right on the edge of the box as Heidemer is wiped out. Prince really, for the first time, getting going with that weaving run. It's a yellow card for Polkinghorne. Talk us through the foul, Amy.
Yeah, it's a clear foul here, and it does look like it's just outside the box, luckily for the Matildas. Polkinghorne deciding to take a touch there and probably should have just booted that one into the suburbs, but again, it was Prince, that pace just tearing the Matildas apart.
It was a spectacular run, and then the follow-up from Heidemer refusing to let the attack break down. Great work from Anna-Marie Kiley as well, eagle-eyed. No need for VAR when the referee's got that decision spot on. but the danger is not yet over for Australia. We've seen Leon unleash one from distance. There's a conference going on. Fleming is there. Sinclair is there. Leon's got the hot boot. Do you just let Adriana Leon take the free kick?
Well, momentum and confidence is everything. She looks like she wants to step up there, but some hidden messages and a big challenge for Lydia Williams. Just moved to PSG recently from Arsenal. Started to get some game time there, and a big test for her.
So Williams is happy with the wall. 5 players line up for the Matildas. And then a nest of red shirts wait on the right side of the box, as you can see there. Will it be Fleming or Leon? Red alert for the Matildas defence then. It's Leon, and it's into the wall. Fleming with the follow-up. Heidemann keeps it moving. Becky, the cutback, is intercepted, and Nevin clears. So the Matildas see off that set piece.
The Australian wall doing their job there, and a better reaction time on that second phase. They're not allowing for that shot at the top of the box.
Well, Tony Gustafsson, the coach, did flag that it would be a big test for Charlotte Grant at right back today. And that run from Nichelle Prince, if not for the goal, it's probably the highlight of the game so far. So exciting to see a player with the confidence to just dribble at defenders and take them on. Right now the ball is on the opposite flank though. St George back to Yecker. Tough pass to control for Fleming. Yecker gets another chance. Heidemann. Suri Yecker once more. This time under a bit less pressure to calm things down. That pass is sailed out by Kaylin Sheridan, so the Matildas have a throw in their attacking half.
Let's move the ball. Want it again, Minnie, want it again. Maximum width to start with M. Kyra win! Kyra win!
Grant. Progress blocked by Prince. Might have heard the shouts of Tony Gustafsson saying Kyra width. So he wants his left winger to push out. Right now, though, it's on the right with Gilnick. And Gilnick with space to whip it across. Cooney Cross was trying to attack the ball. Has still yet to score an international goal. And St George, who's had plenty of work in that right-back position, continues to deputise very well. Now Canada can counter. Heidemann. Prince. One-on-one against Grant. Nichelle Prince goes to work. And there's no power behind the shot.
Almost looked like a through ball there from Prince, but that's Charlie Grant's done quite well there. It's a dangerous position to be in, a one-on-one with such a pacey player.
And now Kerr is through. One-on-one. Sam Kerr denied. Great keeping by Sheridan. Gilnick keepers off the line. And it's over the bar. Huge from Kaylin Sheridan. Sam Kerr and Gilnick are foiled.
A lovely low hard ball from Gorry here, and the seas just parted for Sam Kerr. She's opted to try and go around Sheridan, who was caught in no man's land, but keepers reacted well, and Gilnick just didn't have the poise to keep that one under the bar.
Now, you've played as a forward plenty in your career, Amy. Is that a classic case of too much time to think about it rather than just operating on instinct?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a placement shot there, and Gilnick could be disappointed. She's got excellent technique.
And now Canada might make the Matildas play. Prince cuts it back. Leon. Still Leon, and blocked away. However, the flag is up. Heidemann was standing in an offside position. There was no time there to appreciate how Katrina Gorry had split open the Canada defence there, because they were right back on the attack.
It has been end-to-end in the last 5 minutes, and Sam Kerr should be so disappointed. She's usually very clinical at a 1v1. Sheridan giving her a ton of space and reacting quite well.
So as the captain, Kerr will have to not just reset mentally herself, but set the example for the team. That chance may have been missed, but is evidence that there might be more coming. St George Leon. Taylor Sheridan has gone roaming right out of the penalty area here. An errant pass would leave her trapped and stranded. This back pass here shows just how far out of the penalty area the Canada goalkeeper is willing to roam. Grant. Now Van Egmond. Canada will be acutely aware of the position of Katrina Gorry at all times, I suspect. Kennedy wants someone to present in the midfield. It's Van Egmond, now Polkinghorne. And now here is Gorry, and look at the numbers converge as soon as she gets possession. You got to have eyes in the back of your head, don't you?
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a key cog for the Matildas. Katrina Gorry in this newfound holding central midfield position. You can see how agile she is, confident on the ball. She's very tightly marked today.
Nevin can't complete the 1-2, but Matildas do get the throw. th cap today, Courtney Nevin, only 20 years old. Gilnick trying for the first-time ball. Lucks of fortune with the deflection initially. Made it a contest, but Canada will get the throw. Half an hour all of a sudden ticked over. Two great chances for Sam Kerr. No goals on the board though for Australia. Gorry. Cooney Cross is in space here. Roll down to the left. Missed Van Egmond with the pass. Grant. Gilnick tucking in central. Gorry to Kerr. Back to goal. Has Van Egmond. Gilnick leaves it for Grant, who's gone as far forward as we've seen in open play. Fowler. Mary Fowler. Spins onto that left side. The header from Van Egmond. And right on the goal line, Sheridan is able to make a comfortable catch.
It's better from the Matildas, and it's all starting from Gorry finding a lot of space and just driving that ball into the central strikers there. Pretty ambitious with not a lot of pace on that cross for Van Egmond, but certainly some promising signs.
Item tried to run Kennedy underneath the ball, but Kennedy too wise to be outfoxed there. Lydia Williams cap 101 today, bringing up that 100th cap against Portugal. This time the Matildas played. Here's Gorry trying to get into a positive position. Kerr is almost in behind again. The covering defenders get across. Nevin pushing up and feeding it back to Kerr on the tight angle into the 6-yard box, but Gilnick arrived late and Becky was able to clear it away. And the crowd, they roar on every touch of the ball that Sam Kerr makes, but they couldn't will that one into the net. There's a clattering foul here behind play. It's left Leon worse for wear as Katrina Gorry bounces back to her feet.
It's a strong tackle there, and Leon had just skied past about 3 or 4 Aussie players there, just over-committing. But Sam Kerr certainly starting to find a bit of joy in that really open space.
Let's be fair, there was probably about 3 fouls in that passage of play. Leon just had Nevin and then Cooney Cross, and then Gorry said, well, if those two aren't going to knock you over, I will. Heidemann. Gorry in on Sinclair, but will fall kindly for Yecker. Zadorsky directing traffic, wants players to shift left. Sinclair was the player that presented in central midfield. Beautiful touch from Grosso, dragging the ball out to the left for Prince. And the flag is up. Michelle Prince looks over to the sidelines. A little bit frustrated at being caught after the fantastic work from Grosso there to open up space.
It was a beautiful turn, and I think we need to see a bit more of that from the Matildas. Fowler likes to turn and face players, but geez, that is millimetres off there, and Grant was in a good position again to defend this 1v1.
Interesting that Grant was showing Prince the line. Now we've got an injury. Alana Kennedy has just taken a seat here before the restart of play. Canada are going to sense an opportunity to run over to the sideline and get a drink, but Alana Kennedy perhaps favouring the adductor or the groin muscle here, and this is a worrying sign for the Matildas.
Yes, of all the areas where we don't have a huge amount of depth at the moment, given that Carpenter and Catley are already out, this is a worrying sign for Kennedy, but she could just be pulling up a little tight. She's had to stretch out quite a few times.
While this treatment takes place, let's go back to the one and only goal of the game, but what a goal it was.
Yes, a quality finish here. It's a half a chance at best at the top of the box. Matilda's a little delayed to close down that angle, and it's a quality finish, but you'd have to say the Matildas have had even better opportunities than that. 1v1 and a missed open goal there, so you must be clinical at this level.
And so as Kennedy walks to the sideline, has the treatment administered, allowed her to continue in the game? Or will a sub have to be prepared? I think the paperwork's about to come in, and it's going to be Ivy Lewick, so break glass in case of emergency. And you'd have to think for Sydney that the Matildas would have to surely be thinking about maybe one of the players that went to the Under-20 World Cup, like an Ella Tonkin or a Kirsty Fenton, to come in, and even if they're back up to Lewick, they can't roll with another defender down here. Just so much trouble.
Yeah, certainly very slim on the defensive options at the moment, and you need a squad, particularly leading into the World Cup. You need to have options for every single position when you're playing back-to-back games. Ivy Lewick, a veteran of the game here, and certainly will slot in nicely there, but it is a bit of a worrying sign for the Matildas.
Lewick, 37 years old, and now playing, stay with live play. Cooney Cross. If the Matildas can score down to 10, what a coup that would be. Nevin bombing forward, stops and props. Cooney Cross is going to try a drifter. It's blocked immediately by Fleming. And as the ball is dinked into the box, it's held onto. Of course, last Matilda squad, Matilda McNamara was called in, but didn't get that cap. Jamila Rankin got her first cap. Might be a bit of a daunting task to play at the centre of defence. Steph Catley at centre-back, that's a possibility as well. Heard from her pre-game. Now, the Matildas are still down to 10, so Grant is tucked into the middle. Prince around Gorry. Prince straight at the keeper again. It's a couple of good chances for Nichelle Prince, but the finishing touch just hasn't quite been there.
And of course, the Matildas playing a player down right now, so that's why you see Gorry tucking back there to try and defend that one-on-one as Grant has tucked in, but Prince just showing how dangerous she can be.
Interesting that Williams has not put the ball out. Kerr has shrugged off Yecker. It's Kerr, the solo show. A question to the finish, and it's another good save. Kaylin Sheridan is foiling Sam Kerr today. 3 excellent stops to deny the Matildas superstar now.
It's a battle of the speedsters at both ends there. Sam Kerr showing how quick she is, dribbling with the ball, getting a ton of space there, but a tight angle, and well done from Sheridan at full stretch.
And the ball still hasn't gone out, so the Matildas are still down to 10. Now Grant, and they're shouting to put it out for a throw-in, and it still hasn't crossed the line. Heidemer flicking it, Leon, Williams out of her line, and now will Williams put the ball out? No, the power play continues. The Canadian fans will be loving this. They're reminiscent of ice hockey. The Matildas are just one player down for a prolonged period here.
You would think some of these players closer to the bench have surely heard the cries to pop the ball out. Still playing with 10 players here.
Why would you shout it at Grant but not at Williams when the ball's in Williams' gloves and you can just boot it out? Anyway, the Matildas clearly fancy themselves here, regardless of if it's 10 or 11 on the pitch. anticipated sub. Ivy Lewis still waits next to the fourth official. Fowler through the middle. Kerr. Out to Gilnick on the right. Gorry on the overlap. Gilnick, here's the shout. Gorry slides out for a goal kick. And at last, the full complement can be restored. But it'll be a watch this space for Alana Kennedy. Ivy Lewis comes on for cap number 37. Has moved to Haken in Sweden, where she's made 3 appearances. Was previously playing at Pomigliano in Italy. And there is Alana Kennedy. Not giving him much away there with the facial expressions, other than to suggest it will be a nervous wait to see exactly what the medical team decides.
Matilda's obviously without 7 options at the moment, so add Alana Kennedy to that, hoping to get a few returning for the Sydney game, but this is why squad depth is so important.
Polkinghorne. Fowler. Nevin able to chase the ball down. Looks up at St George and wins a corner. And the crowd with warm applause. Just 5 minutes of regulation until half-time. They've got a role to play here. There is a good, healthy attendance in at Suncorp, as you can see from that wide shot. They can find their voice. May just lift Australia back into this contest. Gorry's corner, attacking the near post. They're headed down. Fowler nods it back into the danger zone. And Sheridan collapses to the ground after initially looking like it was an easy take. We've seen Mary Fowler up for a couple of headers now.
Yeah, the low, hard, near post seems to be the go-to for the Matildas at the moment. They do have players attacking that area, but just not able to get much on that second play.
Polkinghorne made a good challenge. Van Egmond. Kerr not on the same wavelength on that occasion. Cooney cross, could yet make this awkward. St George. Nevin wins the aerial duel. Gorry. Here's Ivy Lewis then. Comes to the centre of defence. Gilnick. Grant on the overlap. And Becky has done well to let the ball stop there. However, no foul to accompany it. So Australia retain possession. Gorry saw the threat of Fleming and immediately deferred back to Polkinghorne. Foul. Becky, and now Canada have got some free players. But Grosso's happy to go backwards rather than forwards. And in the vicinity of Kerr, that's always going to be a bit of a risk. Becky. Sheridan out of the area. Zadorsky. And Zadorsky missed Sinclair. So a little tactical victory for Australia there as Canada's passing comes unstuck. What can they do with the ball though? So Amy, what's your halftime team talk if you were the Matildas coach?
Well, certainly they'll be a little disappointed they weren't more clinical. They have created some opportunities, and Canada have been definitely more clinical in that first half. Some patient build-up here from Matildas in the last 5 or 10, but need to get their midfielders, Van Egmond on the ball a bit more, Mary Fowler on the ball. The block for Canada is working quite well.
Leon really putting the heat on Lewick. And illegally, according to the referee. This wasn't subtle. Easy decision. And so Australia have the ball once again as we tick towards the final minute of regulation in this first half at Suncorp. Brisbane fans want a moment to roar. They want a moment to cheer. They want an Australia goal. Fowler was shown the right, trying to find Kerr. Zadorsky is blown up this time for a free kick. Showing Zadorsky not a starter regularly anymore for Canada.
That's a strong tackle on Sam Kerr. It's one of the first times we've really seen Sam drop deep and try and get involved in that build-up play, and they do need a little more dynamic movement up front.
Away from the free kick. Item is the most advanced Canadian player. Prince. First time we've seen Prince anywhere other than that left flank, and now the through ball is met with the offside flag. However, Lydia Williams was out to collect in any case. And that will take us into stoppage time at the end of the first half, of which there will only be 1 additional minute, even with the injury to Alana Kennedy. Just 60 more seconds for the Matildas to try and find level terms. Lewick has had a pretty rocky introduction to the game in an attacking sense, but a couple of errant passes, nothing that a veteran of her experience won't be able to correct over the second half.
Yeah, some tired-looking legs there in the last couple of minutes of the game, and Lewick just not quite on the same page as a few of those players.
Interesting to see what changes Canada might have in mind as well. As I mentioned earlier, they do have 3 potential international debutantes that could come on from the bench. Simia Wujo and also Clarissa Larissy, the 2 outfielders. Liziane Prue, a goalkeeper, perhaps less likely to be seen, but Sophie Schmidt there in the middle of the picture. She's one of the super veterans. See there Quinn on the left of your screens. No doubt hoping to play a role in the second half. One last free kick to deal with, Nevin. Slightly underhit that pass, and it allows any deception to take place. And Suriyeka will be thrilled to have made it to half-time without conceding, as this new-look Canada defence, they certainly showed the Matildas plenty of chances to score, but it's Adriana Leon who has the one and only goal of the game, and what a goal it was. So what lays ahead in the second half? Still plenty of burning questions for the Matildas, and they turn at the half in Brisbane, down a goal. It's Australia 0, Canada 1.
So the Matildas have to chase the game. We are off to a short break here live from Suncorp Stadium. We'll wrap up all of the first half action on the other side with Andy Harper and Grace Gill. Don't go anywhere. It's 1-0 the Matildas v Canada.
We've been here before, so come in closer.
Some of the crunching action from the first half. It's a friendly in name only, this one. And absolutely no quarter given. Canada 1, Australia 0 at the break. Not for a lack of chances for the Matildas, and they'll be hoping to turn this one around here in Brisbane in the second half. It's going to be Canada to kick us off. And Australia, even though they were forced into a first half substitution with Alana Kennedy leaving with what looked like either a groin or an adductor injury, being replaced by Ivy Lewick, they have not made any further switches, while Canada appear to have the same 11 that started the game. And there is Ivy Lewick, who came on late in that first half. We'll be hoping to marshal from the centre of defence. Next to Claire Polkinghorne from here. You see the hair, of course, growing back after it was all shaved off. This time the Matildas played in Australia down in Canberra. Christine Sinclair, count 316 today, hoping to add to 190 international goals. What lies ahead for her and Canada in this second half? We're back underway. And immediately, Shalina Zadorsky sinks that left foot through the ball, and Jordan Heidemer winning a little header on down to Lydia Williams. So, Amy Chapman, the Matildas have had half-time to mull over that first 45. What do you think changes now in the second half?
Well, hopefully a little bit more intensity. I think they touched on it at half-time. There's been moments of good intensity and good intent, but not consistent enough from the Matildas. Got to get the likes of Fowler on the ball. You can see how confident she is.
Here, breezing past Grosso initially. Kerr linking up with Gorry. A bit of intent from Australia immediately. Nevin getting forward and is beaten to the ball by Bianca St. George, who, alongside Surieka, in that very inexperienced Canada defence, continue to foil Australia. Emily Gielnik is running over to take the long throw. Tony Gustafsson said to us pre-game that no one was on limited minutes other than perhaps Courtney Vine, who is among the subs, and she would get 30 minutes max depending on the game situation. Everyone else that's been named seemingly good to go for as long as required. Here's Polkinghorne with a flick header on, and Van Egmond getting to the ball second after Sheridan was out to take it first.
It's clearly a set play for the Matildas. The long throw from Gielnik. Polkinghorne starting in an offside position and did win that header. Just lacked that near post run to really disrupt the line of sight for the keeper.
Ball given away here, and Fleming can't take possession. Van Egmond, Yeka went slip sliding out of the way. Van Egmond defers back to Gorry. Gorry's going to shoot from distance and was hoping that it might be spilt into the path of the oncoming Kerr. Caitlin Sheridan, who continues to build her reputation as the day goes on, once again comes out on top.
Certainly won't be troubled by that one, but Gorry can score them from distance. Matilda's lining up to try and get a good shot on there.
Prince with a great burst of acceleration. Left Grant behind. Gorry, the slide challenge. Last ditch. Able to stop Prince initially. Now it's a 2-on-1, but numbers have piled forward for Canada and bodies are being thrown in the road. Katrina Gorry was vital there because that initial shimmy of the hips from Prince had Charlotte Grant out of the equation. Australia trying to plug the leaks in defence at the moment. Cooney Cross wants to do something a bit more positive in an attacking sense, but St. George just set herself very well to win the show of strength. And now we'll get the chance to emerge out on the right side. Leon, the goal scorer. Sinclair getting further and further forward, but that's not her best pass. And now goes and catches Polkinghorne in possession, but does so committing a foul. I wonder if that was for the ref or for a teammate there. That little shout of frustration. What was she like to play against as an opponent, Christine Sinclair, Amy? Because you squared off against her a couple of times in your international career.
Yeah, oh, she's a fantastic human. She's surprisingly very kind on the field, of course. Very physical and a true traditional number 9. And I think a lot of us who played against her were just in awe most of the time we were playing against her. She certainly towered over me.
Listed as 175 centimetres tall, Christine Sinclair, but we were discussing this pre-game. The presence, the stature makes her walk that little bit taller, and that's leadership as well.
175, but seemed 185. Just the sheer presence and perhaps the brilliance. That's a strong tackle on Cooney Cross.
St George is really, really growing into this game. Grosso. Now Sinclair. Heard the shout from Leon over on the right side. Sinclair continues the run. Just dragged a little bit of space open at the top of the box. And that's what Canada will use. The Matildas tuck in. Plenty behind the ball now. Prince making a run, but even the speedster can't chase that one down before it goes out for a goal kick. Bev Priestman likes it over on the sidelines, though. Canada with the likes of the very experienced Sophie Schmidt, one of their regular starters in Quinn, both on the sidelines. What minute could we see those players come on? Leon, in the meantime, and just over the head of Prince, it skimmed off Grant, and Mary Fowler was there. Can Matildas break out of their defensive half here? Nevin. Van Egmond drops the ball over to Mary Fowler and decides, I've got the speed to take on Grosso here. Tried to slip the ball through for Sam Kerr, but interesting that Fowler's first thought was to sort of head check and look sideways, but as soon as she actually turned on the pace, she was able to break away from the midfield. That's
right, she's gotten away from them a couple of times and finding herself in good positions, but really needs another midfielder to play there, or one of the strikers to step in and ask for it at their feet.
Leon. Nevin with a hard foul, and it's going to be a yellow card. And let's not forget, if not for a case of mistaken identity, Courtney Nevin may well have been suspended for today's game because she committed 2 yellow card fouls against Portugal. But one of those cards was accidentally given to Charlotte Grant instead. And Amy, talk us through that tackle.
Well, it's a strong one, and it's a definitely late one. Leon's been so dangerous. You can see the Canadian bench are not happy with that.
What about the decision to go in for that foul to begin with?
Well, probably didn't need to at that extent, but Leon's been so effective for them. You just do need to bring a player down occasionally, but I wouldn't encourage that. But strong physical challenge.
You wonder, after what happened against Portugal, will Matildas now maybe think about a sub? Here's the free kick. Fleming is going to drop at the penalty spot. Skims off heads. Heidemer. Neither player wanted the ball. They both veered out of the way and allowed Sam Kerr to come through. And then a preventative foul committed, but not whistled. And so away goes Fowler. The Matildas stay on the attack. Gildick into the side netting. And it certainly fooled the pyro guy because the flames went up, but the scoreboard didn't tick over.
There's a great transition there from the Matildas. You see the pace they've got to burn. Fowler again facing up and slotting in Gilnick. Sam Kerr, it's definitely a foul. The ref said play on here. The Matildas had the numbers, but just couldn't get the angles right.
Tight call. And then we see Gilnick put it into the side netting. And they shot the flamethrowers behind the goal, Amy, but it wasn't a goal. Finger was right on the button, hoping to celebrate the Matildas' drawing level. Best moment of the half so far for the home side. Gorry, crowd finding their voice again. Fleming vital. Was able to steer the ball away from Kerr. Cooney Cross against St George. Cooney Cross tried to find a way around, but St George, well, nearly presented the ball straight back. Got a boot to it in the nick of time, and now Nevin goes through on Leon again, and the referee's whistling, and this could be, well, it looks like it's just going to be a stoppage. Nevin leaves the scene. Amy Chapman, your thoughts?
Well, I think she's milked that one a little bit, to be honest with you, Teo. She's in a tight area here, and she did actually cop a fair elbow to the face. I take that back.
If that's milk, I'm sending the cow back.
I do take that back. That is a stray elbow from Nevin, and probably very lucky to get away with that.
This has to be red alert for the bench. Surely you make a sub with a player just throwing their body in like that. Anyway, they're going to live by the sword, it seems, and I'll tell you what, the sword has come out in this second half with some of the fouls. Tony Gustafsson having a word to Courtney Nevin. Let's see if that cools things off or not. Leon didn't need any treatment. Here's a free kick for Australia, dropping at the edge of the box. Van Egmond cleared away. Grant, a little bit hurried in that up and under clearance, but Australia will retain possession. Cooney Cross steers it central. Gorry tries to drop it in the perfect spot for Kerr, but Yaka wins the header away. Now St George. All the way back to the keeper. One thing that is immediately noticeable about St George is the balance under physical pressure. Really good at holding her ground, especially when getting a bit of attention.
Yeah, and it's not just Australia looking at who else can step up. It'll be, of course, Canada and Bev Priestman. They'll need a full squad under 12 months to this World Cup, and they're using this as an opportunity to see what the travel's like, what's the climate like out here.
Fleming didn't like any of the options initially, so just wheels and deals and sends it out to Leon. Bev Priestman is gesticulating and waving her arms for players to get forward. Canada maybe sensing the opportunity for a second goal. Prince against Grant. Canada throw. Fleming. Little grab of the arm from Gilnick, but Fleming stays on task. He's happy to send it back 10 and now 20 metres. Zadorsky. Her path blocked. Ball goes out. Mary Fowler, who joined Manchester City and will be playing in the WSL. Exciting move for her. Hard to believe that given she's become such a regular in the Matildas that she still is only 19 years old. And in the WSL, I think that Mary Fowler's going to have a pretty fun old time. It's a super team with lots of teammates that can put her into goal scoring and match winning positions.
Absolutely. She's joining Alana Kennedy, of course, Hayley Rasso, one of the biggest clubs in the world, Man City. They've got big aspirations, and I think it's a great move for young Mary Fowler.
Here's Leon. Van Egmond is guarding. Grant has to be careful because she nearly got her pocket picked. And Prince, an ever-present danger. The ball goes out for a corner. In the corner of your eye, Amy Chapman, you've noticed one player who's getting a little bit closer maybe to the end of their warm-up down on the sidelines.
Yeah, I think there's a few potentials. They've obviously got Crummer, and we know Courtney Vine could potentially play 30 minutes. You've, of course, got Alex Chidiac and Tamika Yallop there as well. So they're all options for Tony Gustafsson.
Be a great moment for Larissa Crummer to play in front of her home fans as another Brisbane native, Queenslander. Canada have a corner in the meantime. Kerr wins the defensive header. St George. Grant. Ball takes a deflection. It's awkward. St George Twisting and turning, and Nevin wins the ball with the tackle, and the crowd loved that. And now Australia can launch a counter. Gorry hoping for Kerr. The ball sprays off the outside of the boots. And the blink of an eye, the Matildas were nearly away.
Yeah, great tackle from Nevin, deep in the corner there, already on a yellow card, so had to be smart, but just the pace on that outlet of that ball to Gorry just didn't have the momentum.
Yecker now really struggling with the Australian press. And the foul is going to give the Matildas a free kick.
Love to see a little bit more quality on some of these balls in. The corners haven't been too bad. Some of the free kicks have been just a little too easy to defend, as you see Gorry just getting clipped late there. They need to take more advantage on these free kicks.
Canada are readying a sub of their own. Sophie Schmidt looks like being the next player to be thrown into the fray. Canada have got to deal with this free kick first. Gorry. Kerr's waiting. The header across the face. It's cleared high. Oh, two Canada players in each other's way. And it comes back out to the free kick taker, Gorry. Nevin. Cooney cross. It's on the boot of Kyra. Takes on the long shot. And it's straight at the goalkeeper.
That's better recycling of the ball there from the Matildas. Bit of patience here from Gorry, and of course Nevin and Cooney Cross had every right to take that strike there. Didn't quite get the connection she was after.
Cap number 17 today, still looking for that first international goal. Shot on target though. Matildas continue to build. It's going to be a double change for Canada because Desiree Scott is waiting next to Sophie Schmidt down on the sidelines. Leon. And Nevin has clattered Leon right in front of the Canada bench, and the assistant referee's flagging here. And this is another big decision for Anna-Marie Kiley here. And it looks as though it's going to be some friendly reffing. No second yellow card.
And you called it out here, Teo. This is probably, it is a late block again on Leon from Nevin. She's really playing a very dangerous game there. The Matildas cannot afford to go to 10 men and lose another defender for the next game as well. Nevin really needs to be smart and disciplined here.
So here's the double change. On comes Desiree Scott. And Julia Grosso goes off. And there's Sophie Schmidt coming on for Jessie Fleming. And this really could disrupt Canada because Fleming has just been superb controlling the tempo of this game, knows exactly where to move and present for the ball. And they're being replaced by two very, very experienced, capable players, but they've got to find their legs now.
Yeah, that's right. Perhaps this is a tactic. Bev brings on experienced players to try and close out the game, control the game. Fleming's worked exceptionally hard and is one of the big, bright talents for Canada.
Paperwork's in for the Matildas. It looks like Courtney Vine is not far away. Going to the fourth official. In the meantime, Katrina Gorry. Long, hopeful ball. Kerr caught well behind. Scott. Ball flashes on. Heidemer loses out to Fowler. Nevin. Cooney cross. A neat 1-2. And now the Matildas advance. Van Egmond. Sent Fowler just a half step backwards, but Gorry was there to make it work. Now Grant. Grant hasn't had the chance to run with the ball much in this game. Been very focused on defending for the most part. Gielnik. There's a battle for the ball. Canadians have got to be careful, snapping at the heels of Emily Van Egmond. And now Gorry bends it to the penalty spot. Kerr coming back from an offside position.
It's better link-up play there from the Matildas. I was thinking individually, there's a lot of players working hard, but not really working together. That was some good switch play. Bit of a forced rush ball in here to Sam Kerr, who is in an offside position and very difficult to score from there.
Another good call from the assistant referee, Liesl G, over on the outer side. Flicked on by Heidemer, and Prince is away. A touch to try and open up the pitch, another to break into the box. And the cutback set up for Sinclair. It ends at a goal kick, last touch. The Canadian star, Ivy Lewick looking a little bit sore, but all right to continue. And now Australia have a double change ready, but first, Amy, this incident here.
Again, it's Prince's pace is tearing Australia apart out wide. Same with Leon on the other side. Lewick to the rescue on that occasion at a tight angle.
Now this is exciting. Courtney Vine, another Queenslander, gets to come on and play in front of her home fans. Emily Gielnik, a Queenslander, makes way, and perhaps the change that we might have anticipated, Tamika Yallop will come on and stand at left back, and Courtney Nevin, who didn't just walk the tightrope, just absolutely thundered across it with a couple of risky challenges, has walked between the raindrops and managed to avoid getting sent off. And Tamika Yallop will go and stand at left back and is going to be immediately on the end of this pass here. So, Amy, what will these two changes do? Vine and Yallop coming into the game.
Yeah, as you mentioned.
We'll stay with play. Cooney Cross, this could be an instant impact. Vine is marauding forward on the right. Cooney Cross isn't pulling the trigger on a pass because she's got support in Kerr and decides to wheel back around. The moment is not lost yet. Yallop trying to direct traffic and dribble at Schmidt. And Schmidt with a textbook tackle to defuse it all.
It was a really positive moment there for the Matildas. You could see Cooney Cross a little indecisive whether to go that early ball across the box and perhaps couldn't get her footing right there and just comes to nothing. But yes, as you mentioned, Yallop, she'll bring a lot of experience in here, a lot of composure, and perhaps where Nevin was getting a bit hot-headed and lucky not to see red, a good change for the Matildas.
Polkinghorne, Schmidt. Late challenge from Cooney Cross as well. Schmidt able to nimbly skip past it. Gorry. Fowler to Gorry. The Matildas looking to build through the middle. And the pass is a little bit skinny and shows a lot of the ball. Oh, what a challenge there from St George. But as has been the case all game, the core strength of Bianca St George just knows exactly what to do.
Yes, she's dropped the shoulder on Yallop here, but it's a clever defensive, almost shadowing of the ball there, but not sure it was the right decision from Van Egmond. She didn't get the angle on it, but it does feel like there's been a little bit of a momentum change for the Matildas after these two subs.
Without knowing, I do wonder if Bianca St George studied a martial art. Just her ability to use her strength is so canny and so clever. And on that occasion, it was, again, right up to the line, but legal.
Push, Ivy, push!
Here she is with the ball at her feet, playing it to Zadorsky. Gorry, errant touch. Scott trying to take over. Prince can turn and go and burn. This is Nichelle Prince from the edge of the box, and it's off the heels of Polkinghorne. And now the game is opening up. Grant, Vine. The ball comes to a stop briefly. Fowler. Tried to pick the gap there for Kerr. Zadorsky all over it. Heidemer. Prince is begging for the ball. Play me down the left, and here it comes. Against Lewick. Prince. Leon over ahead. And a really good half chance for Canada. Perhaps should have ended in a shot on target rather than that missed header.
And you get a feeling there's a goal coming, Teo. I'm not exactly sure at what end, but certainly picked up the pace in these last 5 minutes.
Well, it's a great spectacle. September, Saturday afternoon in the sun. Good crowd. They want to roar once. They want to find a Matildas goal. It's been a pretty special afternoon so far. What does the final 25 minutes have to offer? Prince hunted the ball, anticipated the pass, and now can turn and go. Heidemer in the middle, Leon getting forward. Prince with a head check, slides it central. Sinclair denied! Williams comes up with a huge stop and keeps the Matildas in the game. And now Cooney Cross with a crunching challenge to put the ball out for a throw. A big flashpoint, and Williams had the answer.
And it's Prince again, her pace to burn out there. Of course, a cheap giveaway from the Matildas trying to play out there. Just an absolute hospital pass, but Matildas get away with one there.
Another double change coming up. And it's going to be Gabrielle Carl coming on. also Cleo Lacasse. So that was Sinclair's final act of the game. Couldn't add to those 190 international goals. But it's been a pretty impressive showing on cap number 316 that does bring a level as the equal second highest capped player in international football. Jordan Heinemer is the other player coming off. And so it is one of the late call-ups here. Gabrielle Carl, who comes into the game, 31st cap, plays for Kristianstads. And there is Cleo Lacasse, who is almost the accidental Canadian because she was trying to naturalise to play for Iceland and then ended up doing a U-turn to play for the country of her birth. Got the citizenship, and then the Home Office wouldn't authorise it to the extent that Lacasse could actually play for the Icelandic national team. So Iceland's loss is Canada's gain. And of course, when it comes to dual nationality, it was great to see another Queenslander, India Paige Riley, make her international debut for New Zealand earlier today. The co-hosts of the 2023 World Cup, they beat Mexico 1-0. And they had Sydney-born Ali Green in the squad as well. A couple of adopted Aussies doing good things for the Kiwis. St George appeals for offside, not heeded. The flag stays down. Prince deserves a goal for her endeavours today. It takes a deflection. Lacasse trying for the perfect introduction. On the spin, and headed down by Lewick through traffic. What a chance for Becky. Canada getting so close to a second.
Canada really should have capitalised on that again. Prince is the orchestrator here, just turning players inside out with that pace. She was on side. It looked like Grant was keeping her on. Another couple of opportunities here.
Bev Brisbane knows how close Canada were to a 2-0 lead, and with 20 minutes to go, it would have left the Matildas with an almighty task to take something from the game. As long as it's the odd goal, and a player like Sam Kerr is out there, though, Australia will fancy their chances of a comeback. And Tamika Yallop, another Queenslander, is going to try and make it happen. Van Egmond trying to control the ball. Scott got involved. Yaka. Now Yallop slipped at the crucial moment. Cooney Cross goes and feeds it back out to Gorry. Van Egmond. Grant. Now Vine. A real tangle against Carl, the new substitute. The throw-in goes Australia's way. Schmidt. Prince knocks it back. Becky. And Zadorsky. Tough for Lacasse, proving too difficult to keep in. Leon. Vital from Lewick. Now Polkinghorne loses out to Schmidt. And the flag will stay down here. Prince through the left side. It's Nichelle Prince! Somehow it misses! And I think that reaction sums it up.
The opportunities for Canada here, the players lining up. Prince again has really deserved a goal today. He was off target on that one, but they had 3 players lining up. Matilda's defence caught in no man's land there.
Well, on any other day, Nichelle Prince might have had a hat-trick. Instead, it's a catalogue of what-ifs. And the Matildas live dangerously, still holding out hope of emerging with something from an afternoon where Canada are just starting to run over the top, it seems. Silly me, I questioned if Fleming being subbed off would interrupt the game. No, not really. Schmidt's come on and has absolutely picked up where Fleming left off. Right now, trying to block this pass here. Scott. Lacasse turns straight into the challenge of Grant. Bit of a debate over who's got the throw, but it is Australia's ball. Grant, good strength to hold off Prince, but can't make any forward momentum with the pass. Mel Andretta is Tony Gustafsson's assistant in conversation. Tamiki Yallop is free as a bird over on the left, but the ball isn't arriving due to the good defensive work of Zadorsky. Now the Matildas have a chance to sweep it across the field. Van Egmond steered it back towards Zadorsky again. Leon touching it on. Becky. Polkinghorne has the angles covered initially, but then gets her pocket picked. Prince wins a goal kick. Last touch off the Canadian.
Prince has got engines for days. He's clearly got a few more runs in there, and as we mentioned, has probably deserved a goal or two.
Plays for the fittingly named Houston Dash in the NWSL. Schmidt, another textbook challenge on Van Egmond. Prince tried for the little touch on. It's deflected back to Williams. And often it's a player's choice whether they want to play in America or Europe, but Nichelle Prince is looking like someone who wouldn't look out of place at Lyon or Barcelona, never mind the Houston Dash. Anyway, double sub coming up for Canada, and it's exciting because they're going to give two players their international debut. 18-year-old Simi Awujo of the USC Trojans in college, actually born in Atlanta and played for the US under-17 team before switching to Canada at 18 years old, her current age now. Both parents born in Nigeria, and she gets her international debut. And the goal scorer, Adriana Leon, is subbed off for Clarissa Larissy. And Larissy, 23 years old. We'll get back to a little bit more about her because we want to see the goal first.
And it was Leon that has proved the difference today. The two strikers out wide for Canada have been relentless today, causing a lot of pressure. Probably a bit of a relief for the Matildas. They've both had been called an early mark today, but Bev Priestman will be very happy with their output.
Just on Larissy, for our international viewers or Canadian fans, 23 years old, plays for Celtic, and she's going to get involved straight away here, Larissy. Lewick takes the ball away. Hometown of Ottawa, previously played in Iceland for Valour, but interestingly, she's at Celtic, which is, of course, the same club as another Australian, Jacinta Galabadarachi, who was in the Matildas camp for the Spain and Portugal series, but didn't get on the field for that elusive first cap. And well, the Celtic women, they win by meme scorelines, 7s, 8s, 9s, double figures, take your pick every week. So it'll be interesting to see how a player like Larissy stacks up against an opponent like Australia. Ball out towards Yallop on the left. St George, cut central, space everywhere. Simi Awujo on international debut. Well, didn't quite get the pass right. Becky wanted it over to the right flank. Cooney Cross. Now Van Egmond. Larissa Crummer is going to get her bow in Brisbane, which will be a fantastic moment coming up, you suspect, at the next break and play. What a story it would be if Crummer can come on and score the equaliser for Australia. Right now, though, Canada looking good for a second. Larissy battered away. And that would have been the perfect introduction to international football. But Larissy didn't have the finish, and Williams did have the save.
There have been some sloppy giveaways from the Matildas in the last 10 minutes from a number of players there. Getting caught on possession, obviously fatiguing a little as the game opens up, but in big tournaments that will really cost you, and they're very lucky Canada don't have their clinical boots on today.
Well, with 13 minutes to go, you wouldn't bank on the final score being 1-0 just because of the gilt-edged chances that keep presenting at both ends. Yeka, Awujo. And now Lacasse against Grant. Turns around and sees Carl on the overlap. Gabby Carl knocked out for a throw. And Amy, I'll let you tell us the Larissa Crummer story, because it is heartwarming to see her here in her hometown getting to play for the Matildas once again.
It's a really special moment for Larissa Crummer. She is the definition of resilience in sport. She, of course, fractured her leg in multiple places in a A-League women's game back in 2019, and the surgeons even said to her, don't think about football, you need to think about whether you'll ever be able to walk again. So it's more goosebumps moments for her playing in her home state. She's a really great role model for everyone.
And come back to this after this Canada attack. Lacasse persisting. Larissy and Lacasse. And then into traffic and cleared away by Yallop. Scott through the left. Larissy cuts it back. Carl. Still Gabby Carl giving Courtney Vine the run around. Don't see that often. And the cross is blocked in the end. Well done by Vine to recover. Gorry's knocked over and fouled. Larissa Crummer still playing locally for Capalaba, the Bulldogs in the Queensland NPL. And you've mentioned the long and winding road. I was there commentating the night that she suffered that broken leg. The stoppage was at least 15-20 minutes as the ambulance came out. And it's just, you know, not for the squeamish, the horror story of all the surgeries and how difficult it was for her to come back and rehab. Sam Kerr can't break through. In that time, she took up a trade and has kind of got life after football sorted out as well.
Yeah, it's one of those dare to dream kind of moments for her. She didn't dare look back to the national team. She didn't even dare look to playing football again, let alone even running again. So for her, it's been a process of actually going, I can dare to dream. I could potentially be coming to this World Cup after really what was a really intense accident. She's done incredibly well to come back from.
Awujo. And now Larissy, shown an appetite coming off the bench here. Against Polkinghorne, wins a corner. She's zooming in dangerous here, Clarissa Larissy. And now Claire Polkinghorne, don't give us heart palpitations, please. Walk it off, Polks, we need you.
Matilda's under intense pressure in this sort of final 15 minutes. They've got to look to someone. I think Mary Fowler's been the best outlet for the Matildas today. Can they pinch some points here?
Well, if they defend this corner, a full field counter-attack with the likes of Courtney Vine on the field might be their best option. They've got to defend the corner first. Schmidt hangs it high, Carl's up, and Williams catches. And now can the Matildas break at speed? Williams assesses the options and now hurls it out to Yallop. Yallop is going to take the game on, past Becky. Vine trying to use that trademark speed. And Suri Yeka is able to come in and take the ball away. Schmidt. Yeka deflected off Cooney Cross, but Scott is there. Lewick jumped to the pass. 50-50, Scott wins out. Lacasse is away on the left. Bending away from the backtracking Crummer. Chloe Lacasse. And now Clarissa Larissy. Ooh, nearly slipped Polkinghorne, but didn't take enough of the ball and is going to press Williams all the way up. Gorry. Back to Grant. Feels like we've spent the last 7 or 8 minutes talking about Canada here, Amy. The Matildas now need to re-engage with the game. Some of the subs have come on. They've showed us what they can do. They've made an impact for the Canadians. The Australians need to respond in kind.
The Matildas have lost their shape a little bit here, looking a little disorganised and scattered both on the ball and off the ball. But they're obviously going to push players forward now to try and pinch some points here.
Kerr cuts it in. Vine! Courtney Vine! And the groans tell the story. It was nearly Vine time. Instead, it slaps to the turf.
She'd done all the hard work. A great little touch from Sam Kerr there. You can see she was aiming for that far post. She just didn't wrap the foot around it. Heartbreak for Courtney Vine.
Well, heartbreak on the bench as well. That would have been Vine's first international goal. And now, worries for Canada. Kaylin Sheridan is down, holding onto a shoulder here. And I think, well, that little conversation with Sam Kerr might suggest that treatment will make it better and no need for a substitution. Agony for Courtney Vine, so close.
This little breather will do the Matildas good. Obviously, time ticking away, and that may work in Canada's favour there, but it's a great little run in from Courtney Vine here. Good combination with Sam Kerr. She's done everything right here. She's opened up the space. Doesn't look like much in there for Sheridan either. I think she may be actually milking this one slightly, just giving her team a bit of a breather.
Well,
but
last time you said milking, someone got smacked in the face, Amy. I don't know if I can take your word for it. To quote Rory Breaker, if the milk is sour, actually I won't finish that quote, but this is a worry for Canada because Sheridan has been immense today, and shoulders are always a worry for goalkeepers.
yeah, you've got to make bold claims though, Teo, and I did backtrack on that previous one, but this may give the Matildas that little glimmer of hope they need to try and pinch one here, push some numbers forward. It'll be important for their momentum and morale going into this second friendly on Tuesday.
So the treatment is administered, and we tick into the home stretch now. Canada with a makeshift defence, trying to win at Suncorp. In this two-game series, it's so important for world rankings points and the seedings ahead of the World Cup draw. If you end up in pot A, you avoid the likes of England. But if you end up in pot B, you could get any of those top teams in the world. You could, to be fair, get Australia or New Zealand, who will be top seeds. Oh, and here's a slip from St George. And a crunching tackle from Yeka to stop Larissa Crummer. Heart-in-mouth moment for the Canadians. Schmidt sets a cause for Larissy to go and chase, and the assistant referee is flagging, saying that's a foul. For those of you maybe watching the Matildas for the first time or just getting involved in the game, 32-team World Cup. Australia and New Zealand seeded in the first pot as hosts, and then the top 6 in the world get seeding advantage to avoid each other, at least in the initial stages. Nothing you can do about it at the business end, of course. Here's Awujo slipping it through. Lacasse to finish it for Canada. Lacasse rounds the keeper and misses. How on earth have they managed to miss there?
Wow, she's made a mess of this one here. Initially, a great little run. Curved her run beautifully and timed it. She's done everything, gone all the way around the keeper and just not able to get the shot on target here. Matilda's very, very lucky.
Well, Chloe Lacasse, 10th cap today for the Benfica striker, has not scored an international goal and may not have had a better chance than that one to open the tally. 5 minutes to go. The Matildas, they have been let off the hook by Canada here. Can they make them pay? Cooney cross. Vine brings it down. Against Carl. Vine backs the speed. Carl backs the strength. And then nearly coughs it up. It's still alive. Sam Kerr working with intent. The goals are living a charmed life at both ends. And somehow the net is not rippling, this time for Australia.
Courtney Vine does exceptionally well to stay in the fight here. The tenacity. Sammy Kerr just couldn't get it out of her feet, and they were lining up at the top of the box to put that one away.
Well, Courtney Vine did not give up on that ball over on the wing. Great, tenacious fighting play. Well, the Matildas will, if you stacked up just their 5 best chances in this game, you'd think that they should have scored 1 or 2 by now. And yet, Canada cling to a clean sheet. Not subtle from Grunt, foul given. And now the whole stadium goes up. 25,000 Matildas fans cheering for an equaliser. Brisbane wants its moment. Brisbane wants its Matildas goal. Canada doesn't want to give it to them. Schmidt's pass. Lacasse sticking to task. Collision of bodies. Goal kick. Yell. On potato pass. Scott looking to capitalise. St George. Becky. Now Schmidt. Wily veteran. St George. Becky. Numbers lining up in the box for Canada. Polkinghorne is able to bring it down and then slice it out for a throw. Bev Priestman, the smiles have faded now. A bit more tension in the game. St George. Becky takes some precious seconds off the clock. 2 minutes of regulation to go. This is where the Matildas popped up with a vengeance against New Zealand when they were losing in Townsville. Do they have another Queensland miracle in them? Oh, St George has demonstrated interestingly with the referee there. It was friendly, but I thought hands were on the ref anyway. Nothing comes of it. It must have been friendly. Play continues. Awujo. Becky. And now Simi Awujo is offside. But again, like Larissy, I've liked what Awujo has done coming into this game.
Yeah, a lot of positives for Canada. We know they're missing so many crucial players for them, but a great opportunity for some of these youngsters to step up and show what they can do. They clearly have a lot of attacking assets.
Straight up challenging for the header here. St George goes long. Lewick. Now Gorry. Dare I ask, with the game still in the balance, Amy, for your player of the match or who you think has been the standout this afternoon? I'll give you a moment to mull it over. Canada in the meantime. No thoughts of going fully defensive just yet. Grant got fouled by Lacasse.
I think I can answer that one pretty confidently. I think Prince has been absolutely outstanding for Canada. She's definitely been player of the match, and not far behind her has been Leon. They've caused so much damage up front. But for Australia, I think Mary Fowler and Katrina Gorry have both had really good quality games. They've been the standouts for me.
Of course, stick around, we'll have post-game reaction. Andy Harper, Tara Rushton and Grace Gill, former Matilda, on the panel. And Australia have a free kick, and that post-game discussion could be altered significantly if they can draw level here. Tony Gustafsson shouting to his players, telling which ones to get in the box, which ones to take the free kick. Could a late set piece be Australia's stoppage time salvation as we go into 4 additional minutes? And the crowd cheering on, willing on Katrina Gorry. Willing this ball into the net. Polkinghorn! And it lands on the roof. And those fans haven't stopped drumming, haven't stopped singing. And they'll be in Sydney as well, no mistake. Not giving up on the Matildas pulling something out late. Awujo. Lewick. Larissy cuts off the angle back to the keeper. They argue that it should have been Canada's throw, but it's Australia ball. Gorry from deep. Hits it long. Carl. Not out of danger just yet. Grant charges in. And Australia have got numbers. Flowing forward here, the Matildas. Grant. Fowler. It's Mary Fowler. It's high. And you can hear the urging, the yearning in the crowd. But Australia still can't hit the back of the net for them.
It was a great moment here for the Matildas, and no player you'd rather see opening up on their left at the top of the box than Fowler, but she's not gotten over the top of that one, and it's a bit of a story of Matilda's day today, just not really challenging Sheridan enough.
Almost halfway through stoppage time. Canada almost home. But Vine has other ideas. Carl and Yecker combine to sweep the ball away. And then just a full-blooded collision there from Gorry, wiping out Lacasse. And a yellow card to boot. Katrina Gorry's response to Anna-Marie Kiley. Is it a yellow, Chappie?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a clever touch there from the striker to just draw in that foul, but certainly not a yellow, but you can't fault the intent from both players going in at full pace.
Time the enemy of Australia then. See 13 shots apiece, amazingly, only the 1 goal. Super goal, a goal worthy of winning any game, but will it? Gorry, Kerr, herring after it. Zadorsky, it's awkward! Kerr's there! It's just a corner. Oh, that was panicked defending from the Canadians. And in the very last minute of stoppage, Australia has a corner kick.
Don't leave early, Suncorp. It is building here. The Matildas want to point out of this game. Needs to be a quality delivery here.
This is it. Will Australia leave empty-handed? Or can they score at the last? Kerr the hope. Kerr's header! Saved! And Kaylin Sheridan, as she has done all game, foils Sam Kerr.
It's a nice floating ball here. Gives Sam something to work with. Had to create the pace herself. Same again, please.
Repeat corners then. This one is going to skim through the box. No decisive goal-bound touch. And it's a goal kick. And it's exhale for Canada.
And it is Sam Kerr stepping up, like I said, creating that power. Sheridan up to the challenge. Time ticking away now.
Stoppage time is up. It's all on the generosity of the referee. This would be a famous win for Canada. There are a few seconds left. It's over. No Buchanan, no Lawrence, no Riviera, no G, no worries. Canada win in Brisbane. And the Matildas can't believe that they're going home without a goal today. It's a statement from the gold medalists. They have World Cup ambitions and they lay down a marker at Suncorp. Australia 0, Canada 1. What a game in the end. A thrilling finish. Amy Chapman had had it all. It deserved considerably more goals than we got, but a combination of great keeping and profligate finishing means Canada keep the clean sheet and win.
A great final 10-15 minutes there. Both teams pushing for it. Canada certainly had the better of the chances, but Matildas had some good quality in those final 5, and game on, round 2 at Sydney.
So handshakes taking place at full time. Doesn't it whet the appetite for Sydney? A new stadium, first football match, full house. The crowd's probably going to be even louder than we got there at the end. And even though the Matildas leave losers today, Sydney is going to be jumping midweek. And they are going to be hoping that some of the chances that didn't hit the back of the net today will end up in Australia goals and roars at Allianz. Canada, though, they will be absolutely celebrating this one, and so they should. New combinations, new faces, international debutantes, and they played like champions. They played like gold medalists today. They played with the belief of winners. And for Sam Kerr in Australia, well, it'll be another case of what could have been and what wasn't. And Bev Priestman's going to bring them in for a huddle here and perhaps give a pep talk that really is going to be one of those ones that they'll draw on when they return to these shores and New Zealand for the World Cup next year. Australia going in for a huddle as well. Amy, what do you think they'll be saying in that huddle?
I think you can be impressed by the intent in that last 10 minutes. They were very lucky that Canada didn't put the game to bed there. They're certainly a little slim on squad players to work with, but there's some positives there to build on. Obviously, Tuesday, they'll be looking to bounce back and get a result.
Bev Priestman delivering that pep talk. I'm sure many of the players in today's match may well have played their way into contention for the World Cup or solidified their spots. But there is a great unity in that Canada team. They really did win that gold medal, and the gold medal game in particular against Sweden, against the odds. Seemingly down and out in the penalty shootout, only to come back and claim the win, and that fighting spirit was just evident again today. The Matildas, well, we've been here before. They lacked that little bit of sharpness, the clinical finishing in front of goal. And they will be hurting after this one because they go home defeated once again, and Canada's unbeaten run against Australia continues all the way back to 2008 still. It'll be very interesting to hear what the players have to say when they come out and address the media, and that of course starts right here on Network 10 with the post-game, so stick around for that. And we're going to jump into that post-game right now because Neve Owens has the match-winning goal scorer.
Adriana, congratulations. Your first official step toward the World Cup next year. How much confidence does a win like that give your side?
Yeah, I definitely think it was a good start for us. We've traveled a long way to get here and probably not feeling the best, but, you know, we got through today and got the win, so it's a great start for us.
Talk us through your strike because it was an absolute rocket.
Yeah, I just got space on top of the box and decided to take a shot and take a chance, and luckily it went in.
It was physical, it was fiery at times. How did you find it?
Yeah, I definitely felt it was an aggressive game. Definitely a few fouls out there, but we got through it, and that's what the game's all about.
Your defence looked different on paper today, but yet another clean sheet. What do you put that down to?
Yeah, it's massive. Our defense was super strong today, and it's always nice to get a clean sheet and put the ball in the back of the net.
Your coach talked in the lead-up about the importance of mindset when you're down on troops. What does today's performance tell you about your side?
Yeah, it was a gutty performance from us, and we played through to the 90th minute, and definitely a good start towards the World Cup.
Well done. We look forward to seeing you in action again on Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neve, and thank you, Adriana Leon. Amy Chapman, here's the goal once again for anyone who joined us late. What a great goal it was.
It's a beautiful strike, and she was a force to be reckoned with all game. She's got to be happy with that. Like she said, they've travelled a really long way, and their strikers today were on form.
The ice hockey references continue. It is Canada after all, and some very happy Canadian fans in the stands. All right, let's get the Australian perspective now. Neve Owens has Katrina Gorry down at ground level.
Katrina and Harper join me. Katrina, bad luck today. Your side created plenty of opportunities. What was the difference in the end?
Yeah, obviously they created, I think, only 1 or 2 chances and they converted it. Unfortunately, we didn't convert our chances, and that's how games are won and lost, unfortunately.
You're back here on home soil in Brisbane. Harper in your arms, your family in the stands. What do games like this mean to you?
Yeah, it is really special. I haven't played here for the national team ever, so to have family and friends in the stands and to know that we're back here for the World Cup in almost under a year, I think it's pretty special, and I just can't wait to get back here.
You were heavily marked today. I'm going to share the mic with Harper in a sec. You were heavily marked today. They gave you a lot of attention. Are you looking to make that number 6 role your own?
Yeah, I think I want to play, and wherever I fit best in this team, I'll do my best to do the job that needs, and I'll keep on improving and keep on getting better, and hopefully I can add more to the team.
I'm going to wrap it there so I can give Harper this plaything. Bad luck today. We look forward to seeing you on Tuesday.
Thank you.
Microphones, a lot of fun for young babies. Great to see Katrina Gorry and baby Harper there making the trip with her all the way to Australia. She is the crowd favourite. We are off to a short break. The Matildas couldn't get it done this afternoon here at Suncorp Stadium against Canada.